Good morning, dear students. Myself Neetu from St. Paul's School. I welcome you all in this class and I hope you all are fit and fine at your house and you are studying well also. So today we will start chapter 6 from Footprints Without Feet textbook, and the chapter name is The Making of a Scientist. This chapter written by Robert W. Peterson. And in this chapter we will study about a scientist that her name is Richard Ebright and how he became a famous scientist. It means in his childhood he liked to collect the butterflies. So I have written here on the blackboard. It was Ebright's fascination. Fascination means attraction. It was his attraction for butterflies that opened the world of science to him. It means in his childhood he was collecting different kind of butterflies, and these interests made him a famous scientist. So now I am starting the chapter. The Making of a Scientist. At the age of 22, a former Scout of the Year excited the scientific world with a new theory on how cells work. Former means earlier. So at the age of 22, earlier Scout of the Year excited the scientific world because he discovered a new theory on how cells work. Richard H. Ebright and his college roommate explained the theory in an article in the Proceeding of the National Academy of Science, and they published that article in this National Academy of Science, their theory. It was the first time this important scientific journal had ever published the work of a college student, and this was the first time this National Academy of Science and their students' work published in this journal book. Before this, they never published the students' work. In sports, that would be like making the big leagues at the age of 15 and hitting a home run your first time at bat. Leagues means a group of people or a group of countries. Your first time at bat. For Richard Ebright, it was the first in a long string of achievements in science. String means line of achievements. It means he had not achieved only this one achievement, but many achievements he achieved in his life. So in this line by line, he achieving every day in science and other fields. And it all started with butterflies, and his achievement started by the butterflies because from his childhood he had this interest to collect the butterflies. An only child, Ebright grew up north of Reading, Pennsylvania. There was not much I could do there. He said, I certainly could not play football or baseball with a team of one, but there was one thing I could do, collect things. Now he is saying when he became a famous scientist and he achieved many awards, something like that, then he is saying that in my childhood I never played this type of game, but I had only one interest, that was to collect things. So he did, and did he ever. Beginning in kindergarten, Ebright collected butterflies with the same determination that has marked all his activities. He also collected rocks, fossils and coins. He became an eager astronomer. Astronomer means a person who studies astronomy. Sometimes star gazing all night. Star gazing means when we are continuously looked at the one thing. So during night what he was doing, he was continuously looking at the stars. So that is a staring, or we can say gazing. From the last he had a driving curiosity. Curiosity means when we have a desire to learn. So he had this desire. Along with a bright mind, he also had a mother who encouraged his interest in learning, and his most supportive person was his mother because he always supported him. She always supported him. She took him on trips, bought him telescopes, microscopes, cameras, mounting materials and other equipment, and helped him in many other ways. It means in his childhood, his mother always encouraged him, and she was providing the things also, whatever useful for him when he was gazing at the stars. So she provided him telescopes, and she took him on trips. Trips means tours. And microscopes, cameras, mounting materials, and other equipments. Microscope means object to see small things, because the things which are very far from us, and if we want to see, we can use this. So she had provided all these things. Suppose there is a question that how Ibrahim's mother helped him, then we have to write all this. I was his only companion until he started school. His mother said, after that I would bring home friends for him. But at night we just did things together. Richie was my whole life after his father died when Richie was in 3rd grade. She and her son spent almost every evening at the dining room table. If he didn't have things to do, I found work for him. Not physical work, but learning things. His mother said he liked it. He wanted to learn. And learn he did. He earned top grades in school on everyday things. He was just like every other kid. His mother said. And his mother said that we always spend time on a dining table. By the time he was in the 2nd grade, Ibrahim had collected all 25 species of butterflies. And when he was in the 2nd class, till that time he collected 25 species of butterflies found around his hometown. It means from his hometown he collected different type of butterflies, 25 species. That probably would have been the end of my butterfly collecting, he said. But then my mother got me a children's book called The Travels of Monarch Hen. That book which told how monarch butterflies migrate to Central America. Migrate means move to one place to other place. Opened the world of science to the eager young collector. And his mother brought him a book, that is, the name is Travels of Monarch Hen. And in this book, how monarch butterflies migrate to Central America, this whole thing described. At the end of the book, readers were invited to help study butterfly migration. Migration, the same thing, we move from one part from our world to the other part. So at the end of the book, there is a written that the readers were invited to help us study butterfly migration. If any other reader is interested that how the butterfly migrate from one place to, or from the one part of a world to the other part of a world. They were asked to take butterflies for research by Dr. Frederick Urquhart of the University of Toronto, Canada. And this all who invited all these things by the Dr. Urquhart. Means at the end of the book, there were written that if any other reader is interested to know about how the butterflies migrate from one part to the other part, then they are invited. What they have to do, they have to tag butterflies and they have to send it. Ibrahim's mother wrote to Dr. Urquhart, and soon Ibrahim was attaching light adhesive tag of the wings of monarch. Adhesive means used to stick butterflies. Anyone who found a tagged butterfly was asked to send the tag to Dr. Urquhart. The butterfly collecting season around reading lasts 6 weeks in late summer. If you are going to chase them one by one, you won't catch very many. So the next step for Ibrahim was to raise a flock of butterflies. He would catch a female monarch, take her eggs and raise them in his basement through their life cycle. From eggs to caterpillar to pupa to adult butterfly. This is the life process of a butterfly. So first of all there is egg, then caterpillar change in pupa, and pupa to adult butterfly. Just like in human being we all have seen, first of all the infant child, then child, then young, and then old. So this is the life process of butterfly. First of all there is egg, then caterpillar, then pupa, and then the adult butterfly. Then he would take the butterfly's wings and let them go. So they have to collect, they have to stick butterfly's wings and they have to send. For several years his basement was home to thousands of monarchs in different stages of development. Eventually I began to lose interest in tagging butterfly, but later then Ebright is saying that after some time I lost this interest also. I didn't like this to tag butterflies or butterflies wings. It's a tedious and there is not much feedback. It was so boring and there was not feedback also. Ebright said, in all the time I did it, he laughed. Only 2 butterflies I had tagged were recaptured and they were not more than 75 miles from where I lived. Then in the 7th grade he got a hint of what real science is when he entered a country science fair. And at the when he was in his 7th class, he got a hint. That time he understood what is the science. Till that he was unaware about it. And at last it was really a sad feeling to sit there and not get anything while everybody else had won something. And he had this desire that any other person achieving something, they are doing something and I am not able to do anything. His entry was slides of frog tissues. Tissues means similar cells, which he showed under a microscope. He realized the winners had tried to do real experiments, not simply make a neat display. Already the competitive spirit that derives Richard Ebright was appearing. Already now day by day there was a great desire appearing in the Ebrights, and now he wanted to do something and he wanted to achieve many things. So he decided this. I knew that for the next year's fair I would have to do a real experiment, he said, and he decided that in the next science fair I will take part and I will achieve something. He said, the subject I knew most about the insect work I would have been doing in the past several years. So he wrote to Dr. Urquhart for ideas and back came a stack of suggestions for experiment. So he was taking advice from the Dr. Urquhart, he was in Canada. Those kept Ebright busy all through high school and led to prize projects in country and international science fairs. For his 8th grade project, Ebright tried to find the cause of a viral disease that kills nearly all monarch caterpillars every few years. Ebright thought the disease might be carried by a beetle. Beetle is a kind of an insect. In Hindi we say bhora. He tried raising caterpillars in the presence of beetles. I didn't get any real results, he said, but I went ahead and showed that I had tried the experiment. This time I won. The next year's his science fair project was testing the theory that viceroy butterflies copy monarchs. The theory was that viceroy look like monarchs because monarchs don't taste good to birds. Viceroys on the other hand do taste good to birds. So the more they look like monarchs, the less likely they are to become a bird's dinner. Ebright's project was to see whether in fact birds would eat monarchs. So he wanted to know that birds would eat monarchs or not. He found that a starling would not eat ordinary bird food. Starling is a common bird with a dark, bright feasting. Starling would not eat ordinary bird food. It would eat all the monarchs it could get. Ebright said later research by other people showed that viceroys probably do copy the monarch, and at the end he found that viceroys copy monarchs. This project was placed first in the zoology division and third overall in the country science fair. In his second year in high school, Richard Ebright began the research that led to his discovery of an unknown insect hormone. Indirectly, it also led to his new theory on the life of cells. The question he tried to answer was simple. What is the purpose of the 12 tiny gold spots on a monarch pupa? And now this time he wanted to know that on pupa, why there were what is the reason of this? Everyone assumes the sports were just ornamental, and when he asked to the other, they replied that it's just like ornamental, as we have seen on the body of the tiger, their black color spots. So something they replied that this is just like ornament. Ebright said, but Dr. Urquhart didn't believe it. To find the answer, Ebright and other excellent science students first had to build a device that showed that the spots were producing a hormone necessary for the butterfly's full development. Just like we have seen on the some person's face also, there is a different kind of spots. So of course there is a reason to appear these kind of spots. So the same thing, Ebright had this desire. He wanted to know why these golden color spots there on the pupa. And when the other replied that it's an ornament, he didn't believe it and he decided to find out what is the reason. And this was the hormone necessary for the butterfly's full development. This project won Ebright's first place in the country fair, and this time he won the first place. And entry into the International Science and Engineering Fair, and now we enter to the International Fair and Engineering Fair. There he won third place for zoology. He also got a chance to work during the summer at the entomology. Entomology is a branch of zoology. We can, in this we study about insects, entomology. Study of insects, and it is a branch of zoology. Entomology Laboratory of the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. As a high school junior, Richard Ebright continued his advanced experiments on the monarch pupa. That year his project won first place at the International Science Fair, and this time he won the first place in the International Science Fair. And gave him another chance to work in the Army laboratory during the summer. In his senior year, he went a step further. He grew cells from a monarch's wing in a culture and showed that the cells would divide and develop into normal butterfly wing scales only if they were fed hormone from the gold spots. That project won first place for zoology at the International Fair. He spent the summer after graduation doing further work at the Army laboratory and at the laboratory of the US Department of Agriculture. The following summer, it means the upcoming summer. After his freshman year at Harvard University, Ebright went back to the laboratory of the Department of Agriculture and did more work on the hormone from the gold spots. Using the laboratories sophisticated means there were a very advanced equipments and the instruments were there. That is called a sophisticated. We can say very advanced technology, very advanced instruments. Sophisticated instruments. He was able to identify the hormone's chemical structure. So there he could easily find out the reason. A year and a half later, during his junior year, Ebright got the idea for his new theory about cell life. It came while he was looking at X-ray photos of the chemical structure of a hormone. When he saw those photos, Ebright didn't shout, "Eureka!" Eureka is an explanation of triumph. जब हम कोई जीतते हैं, कोई चीज अचीव करते हैं, that time we said this Eureka, yes, I have done. So that is the an explanation of triumph. Ebright didn't shout. He never shouted this Eureka word. He never spoke this word. Or even I have got it. Even he didn't say that I have got it. But he believed that along with his findings about insects' hormones, the photos gave him the answer to one of biology's puzzles. How the cell can read the blueprint of its DNA. DNA is a substance in the nucleus of a cell that controls heredity. It determines the form and function of the cell. Thus, DNA is the blueprint for life. Determines means decides. So, it decides the form and the function of the cell. Ebright and his college roommate James R. Wong worked all that night drawing pictures and constructing plastic models. Constructing means making plastic models of molecules. To show how it could happen together, they later wrote the paper that explained the theory. Surprising no one who knew him, Richard Ebright graduated from Harvard with highest honors, second in his class of 1510. Ebright went on to become a graduate student researcher at Harvard Medical School. There he began doing experiments to test his theory. If the theory proves correct, it will be a big step towards understanding the processes of life. It might also lead to new ideas for preventing some types of cancer and other diseases. All of this is possible because of Ebright's scientific curiosity. And all this happened because he had this desire to learn. If we have not any kind of desire, we cannot do anything. So we all should have desire to do something. His high school research into the purpose of the sports on a monarch pupa eventually led him to his theory about cell life. Richard Ebright has been interested in science since he first began collecting butterflies. From starting, he had this desire. He wanted to know about the science. Even in his childhood, he was collecting butterflies because he had this interest. But not so deeply that he has not time for other interests. Ebright also became a champion, debater, public speaker. Not only he was a scientist, he was a debater, public speaker and a good canoeist. Canoeist means a person who paddling a canoe. An all-round outdoors person. He is also an expert photographer. So we can say he was outstanding and all-rounder because he was a perfect in all work, not only in the science field. He was an expert photographer, particularly of nature and scientific exhibits. Exhibits means shows. In high school, Richard Ebright was a straight student, means honest student. Because learning was easy, he turned a lot of his energy towards the debating and the model United Nations clubs. He also found someone to admire. Richard A. Wheeler is a school studies teacher and advisor to both clubs. Mr. Wheeler was the perfect person for me then. He opened my mind to new ideas, Ebright said. And Ebright said that my teacher was my best helper, best advisor and best person. Richard would always give that extra effort. Mr. Wheeler said, what pleased me was, here was this person who put in 3 or 4 hours at night doing debate research, besides doing all his research with butterflies and his other interests. Richard was competitive. Mr. Wheeler continued, but not in a bad sense. He explained Richard was not interested in winning for winning's sake of winning to get a prize. It means Mr. Wheeler said that he had not desired that he wanted to get this prize, but he had this desire, he always wanted to achieve. He didn't want to achieve prize, he was to achieve something. Sake of winning to get a prize. It means he had this interest to winning for winning's sake, not for prize. Rather, he was a winning because he wanted to do the best job he could. For the night reasons, he wants to be the best, and that is one of his ingredients in the making of a scientist. And this interest made him the famous scientist. Start with the first rate mind, add curiosity and mix in the will to win for the right reason. So first what? We should have this thing in our mind. Then we have to mix, we should have add this our desire. We have to add our desire in our aim and later then will to win for the right reason. Ebright has these qualities and Ebright has these all qualities. He has curiosity also, he had interest also, and he was a hard worker also. He was a great learner also. From the time the book The Travels of Monarch 10 opened the world of science to him, and that book was also helpful for him, which provided by his mother. Richard Ebright has never lost his scientific curiosity. Even in his life he never lost this curiosity. So thank you for watching the video. With this the class is over, and the word meanings and think about it question answers you have to write in your notebook. Thank you. Have a nice day.